You're doing everything right, but it all feels so numb. You laugh, but you don't feel joy. You love, but you don't feel close. And here's the thing that's hard to understand. The symptom isn't the sadness, it's the disconnection. It's a trauma symptom so quiet you think it's your personality, but it's not. And it's stealing the happiness that you're meant to have. Disconnection is one of the core symptoms of trauma, especially childhood trauma. And it's so common, most people don't even realize they have it. They just think, I'm weird, I'm bad at people, I'm not like other people, but that's not what's going on. If you've ever sat with friends and felt 1,000 miles away, if you've ever been in a relationship that felt off or fake or worse, you knew it was no good, but you felt like you only found this one relationship by some random accident. And if you let it go, no one in the world would ever step in and love you. You know, if you crave closeness, but you feel uncomfortable when it's offered, there's a good chance that disconnection is the symptom behind it all. And this isn't about your personality. This isn't some moral flaw or lack of effort. It's a real neurological effect of trauma, especially if it happened in childhood. And there are very practical things you can do to heal it. In this video, I'm going to teach you what trauma-driven disconnection really is and where it comes from, how trauma, especially neglect, can leave you with a connection wound, the subtle signs that it's happening in your relationships, why so many people with disconnection also struggle with something that I call covert avoidance, and simple steps that you can take to begin restoring your connectability starting today. So trauma-driven disconnection is not a lack of desire for closeness. It's not social anxiety. It's not introversion. It's a sense that many of us have that even when we want it, even when we're trying, it can feel like there's a shell around you. Some people describe it as a glass wall. And because you can see everyone around you, but you feel separate from them, well, I remember I once told my friend I felt like there was a membrane around me, something that stopped me from fully being with people, like I couldn't quite feel them and they couldn't quite see me. And at the time, I was in a relationship that I knew and everyone knew was not a good one. And to make that work, to contain all the stress and worry and hurt I was always feeling, I had to shut myself down. I had what was basically a cover story to tell when people said, "Hey, how you doing?" And a lot of us do that when we're in the middle of hardship, where we worry that other people don't want to hear about it. It's a belief that if anyone knew what you were really going through, they'd be horrified and they'd drop you from their friend circle like a hot potato. And with shallow friendships, this might be true, but there's this vicious circle. You're never real with people, so you can't develop real friendships. And it's confusing when you're in the middle of it. It can be hard to notice because on the surface, you may look totally fine. You might have friends. You might even have a husband or wife. This is a mystery for a lot of us, but it turns out that this feeling, even though it can have many causes, one big one is trauma, especially neglect in childhood. Neglect in early childhood can affect brain development, including the part of your brain that allows you to feel your connection to others. And if you were neglected, you probably had to come up with survival strategies to deal with that. You learned to handle things internally, to not rely on others. You probably had to shut down some feelings because a little child isn't meant to be left alone to deal with fears and sadness. And that shutting down, that toughness may still be in you. You're still reflexively protecting yourself. But now that you're an adult, it doesn't work. It's just making you feel disconnected. Living your life without that feeling of connection, that scared feeling that you carry, it's just crying for healing because disconnection starves you of love and joy and meaning, the very things that make life worth living. But you get so used to feeling apart from people, it can be hard to notice. You're at dinner and suddenly you realize that you haven't been present the whole time. Or you're talking to someone and you feel like you're acting, like you're doing a version of yourself, but you're not yourself. You're alone. And you're not upset necessarily, but you're not at peace either. You're just neutral. This kind of emotional dullness can take over your life. It's not because you're shy. It's not because you're too busy. It's not because you don't care. It's because disconnection, especially the kind that comes from childhood, it hides inside your everyday habits. Has this happened to you? Now, if you want to see it, I can show you a list of signs that early trauma is affecting your ability to connect now. And you can download that list of these signs for free. It's a PDF. It's called the Connection Quiz, and you'll find a link to it in the top row of the description section below this video. Especially once it becomes your norm, it's common to feel like, I guess this is all there is, and to feel sad about it, depressed. Now, you can change this. But you may have been waiting for something big to come along and pull you out of your isolation. And that could happen, but usually the change happens because of small actions that you take and you keep taking that help you get grounded in the real world, that help reintroduce connection. So sometimes it feels like emotional depth, but not always. Sometimes it feels like a spiritual epiphany. Usually, though, it's just connection, and the kind that you can feel in the room. So how can you invite that experience into your life, into this day and every day? All right. Step 1, name what is happening. And if you notice yourself zoning out, going blank, or feeling invisible in a conversation, notice it. You don't have to fix it. Don't perform. Don't analyze. Just quietly register. This is disconnection. Step 2, move your awareness outward from yourself. Disconnection pulls your attention inward. It makes you focus on how you feel, how you look, whether you belong. So try looking around and quietly naming what you see. The table, the person's face, the sound of their voice. It doesn't need to be deep. This is about interrupting the inward spiral. Step 3, interrupt your own urge to go into avoidance. And if you keep missing calls, if you keep canceling plans, avoiding certain people or settings, whatever the reason, you tell yourself, pay attention to that. Avoidance is the behavior that keeps disconnection in its place. You pull away to manage stress. And if you're like a lot of us, you do it even when you don't realize it. You go through the motions of connection. You think you're connected, but you never really open up or hear or commit to anyone. So to interrupt avoidance, you don't need a big gesture. You just hang in there. You just hang in there. You don't leave the room because someone is sharing something that's hard to hear. You don't say no to every invitation. You accept some invitations. And even if you feel reluctant at the end, sometimes you go anyway. You answer the text. You show up on time. You stay 10 minutes longer than you want to. And it's going to feel weird. Let it be weird. This means that you're stretching your comfort zone. It's good to have a little more space in your comfort zone. Step 4, let connection be imperfect. If you spent years disconnected, genuine connection might feel awkward or embarrassing or even irritating. That doesn't mean it's not working. It's okay. So stop waiting for closeness to feel smooth and natural. You rebuild that by letting it be clunky at first and then doing it anyway. And this is important to keep working at, because here's the hard part about disconnection. It's not loud. It doesn't demand your attention. It just numbs you out slowly. It becomes how you do life. It becomes how you think relationships are supposed to feel. And you adapt to emptiness. And once you're used to being disconnected, real connection starts to feel suspicious or stressful or just like too much work. So what you've done before is you kept conversations short, you kept relationships shallow, you kept yourself quiet and agreeable and invisible, and that's how trauma limits connection and limits you. It doesn't make you mean or angry necessarily. It can. It just keeps you separate. And if you feel disconnected, it's not because you're incapable of connection. It's because disconnection became your baseline. And you've been trying to live your life through a fog, trying to love people without letting them see you, trying to be present without showing up, really. And of course, that's exhausting. But this doesn't have to be permanent. You can interrupt disconnection, not with breakthroughs or insights necessarily, but by choosing connection in very small ways again and again, even when you don't feel like it, because it can't start feeling good, and you won't believe connection is a good feeling unless you keep practicing. If you want to know exactly how to do it, I've got a whole book I've written for you called Connectability. It's about how you can overcome what's blocking your ability to connect and learn how exactly to get good at it and to form beautiful, healing relationships of all kinds. I'll put the link where you can buy that book. It comes in hardback, ebook, audiobook, whatever works best for you. The link is in the second line of the description section below. Fight the disconnected feeling. If you let it, it will steal the meaning out of your life. Not all at once, but by little bits until you're just going through the motions. You don't have to keep living like that. You can start coming back. Pick one small ways to connect today, like right now even, and then do it again tomorrow. That's how you melt that glass wall that's between you and the world. And that's how you let your life really begin. If you like this video, I've got one I think you'll really love. It's right here, and I will see you very soon. If you're a little bit avoidant, I'll bet that you've told every story in the book to get out of plans, but the relief feels like it's worth it.